Good morning, class. I'm your teacher, Christian, and welcome to English 8. So before we start our lesson, let's have first a prayer. But instead of someone to go in front, I will be playing a Christian song and I am pleasing everyone to please stand. So in the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, Amen. Alright, once I call your name, just say present. Abutan Relin. Abansado Geneva. Very good, no absent for today. So before we start our lesson, I have here an activity, a motivational activity that will energize your mind or that will energize the room. And we will call this as Act the Line. So I will flash some famous line, came from Philippine and Hollywood movies. And all you have to do is to act the lines with correct emotions and correct facial expressions. And of course, I will ask some volunteers coming from you. So these are the movies that you will be imitating.
Bakit nga? Sabihin mo sa akin bakit hindi mo nagustuhan. I deserve an explanation.
Ano?
Second,
Sorry.
And what makes that story different from all your other stories before? Halos 7 taon ang buhay ko. Binigay ko sa'yo, primo.
and third.
You're absolutely right.
Yan lang ang tingin mo sa akin. Tiga-handa ng isusuot mo, ang kakainin mo, tiga-ayos sa bahay mo, taga-salo sa mga problema mo. I was never your partner. I'm just your wife. Kaya hindi mo ako nirirespeto.
Okay, thank you for those who volunteered. Very good. Let us give them 5 claps. I can say that they have potential in acting and I can see in the future some artists performing in ABS-CBN or GMA. So now let's begin the discussion. Our topic for today is all about the direct and indirect speech. So but before we go to the core of the discussion, let's know first the objectives or learning objectives of today's lesson. At the end of the lesson, you students should be able to attain convert direct speech and indirect speech. Secondly, incorporate direct speech and indirect speech in writing a story. And third, discuss direct speech and indirect speech and its importance in speaking and writing. So there are many occasions in which we need to describe an event or action that happened, and very often that includes repeating what someone said. Such occasions can include a social situation as well as in work, email, or presentation. So in order to describe what people said, there are 2 different types of speech or 2 ways of reporting. So this is what we call the direct speech and indirect speech, or the types or 2 ways of reporting. So first, let's deal what direct speech is. So direct speech is if we want someone to describe what someone said, one option is to use this type of speech. We use direct speech, especially when we simply repeat what someone says, putting the phrase between speech marks, or what we call the inverted commas. Direct speech is exactly what it sounds like. The text that reports the exact thing or exact thoughts expressed by the original person in their original form. It is often enclosed in an inverted comma, or what we call the quotation marks, so that the reader understands that the quoted text is not yours, but coming from the speaker's original narrative. So I have here an example. Philip, please read the example. Okay, thank you. From the first example, President Duterte said he lived in the Malacanang. We can say that it is an example of direct speech because you can see in the sentence that there is an inverted commas. So, he lived in the Malacanang. This is an example of direct speech. Another example is Bongbong Marcos said he has completed his degree in Oxford University. Also in the second sentence, it uses inverted commas which associates or it as direct speech. So as you can see with direct speech, it is common to use the verb says, shouts, or ask, or reply, and so on. On the other hand, the second type of reporting, or the second way of reporting, is what we call the indirect speech. So indirect speech is also known as reported speech, indirect narration, or indirect discourse. In grammar, when you report what someone says or someone else's statement in your own words without any change in the meaning of the statement, it is called as indirect speech. To simply understand the meaning of indirect speech, it is like we want to report what someone said with speech marks, without speech marks, and without necessarily using the exact same words we use in direct speech. So I have here an example. The president said he lived in the Malacanang. Bongbong Marcos said that he had completed his degree in Oxford University. So from the given example, we can see the difference of the indirect speech to direct speech, because in the indirect speech we do not use the inverted commas, but instead we express the sentence without using the quotation mark, just like here. President Duterte said he lived in the Malacanang, and Bongbong Marcos said that he had completed his degree in Oxford University. So, indirect speech and direct speech have grammatical aspects in sentence structure. So these are the reporting speech, reported speech, reported verb, and reporting verb. So let us deal this one by one. So when we say reported speech, it is more of the tone of the speaker or mode of the speaker. The reported speech can be declarative, interrogative, imperative, and exclamatory, or the types of sentences according to function. And these are the exact words spoken and put within the inverted commas. So I have here an illustration or example in which you can identify the reported speech. From the given example, he said to me, I will go there tomorrow. So the I will go there tomorrow is a reported speech because the sentence is enclosed in quotation mark. So when a sentence is enclosed in a quotation mark, that is what you call a reported speech. On the other hand, reporting speech is the first part of the direct or indirect speech. It is called reporting speech. It is like asking who said to whom or who said. So for example, he said to me, I will go there tomorrow. So the difference is the reporting speech can be seen in the first part of the direct speech. Just like here, he said to me. It is like someone said to whom. Did you get it? Okay, next is the difference of the reporting verb to reported verb. So reported verb is the verb used in the reported speech. It is called the reported verb. So in the given example, he said to me, I will go there. Since our reported speech is I will go there, meaning basically the reported verb is go, since it is the verb used in the reported speech, I will go there tomorrow. On the other hand, the reporting verb is the verb used in the reporting speech. Since reporting speech can be found in the first part of the direct sentence, meaning to say that the reporting verb can be found also in the first part of the direct speech, just like here. He said to me, I will go there. He said to me is the first part of, he said to me is the reporting speech. That is why the verb said is the reporting verb. So there are basic rules in converting direct speech into indirect speech. And these are the changes in person of pronoun, changes in verbs, and important changes in words. So let's deal first in the changes in person of pronoun. So this person of pronouns are the first person pronoun, second person pronoun, and third person pronoun. So in terms of first person pronoun, the first person pronouns in reported speech are always changed according to the subject of the reporting speech. So I have here an example. In direct speech, he says, I am ill. But if you're going to convert it in indirect speech, he says that he is ill. If you're going to observe the sentence, the pronoun used in the direct speech, particularly in reported speech, is I. And this is not this is not associated, this does not associate to the pronoun used in the reporting speech, which is he. So if you're going to convert it in an indirect speech, the I should be changed into he, since the subject you are talking to in the reporting speech is a male. So you should use the first person, the pronoun he in converting indirect speech. So in terms, again, in first person pronoun in reported speech is not changed. This is the consideration. Is not changed if the pronoun or the subject used in the reporting speech is also first person pronoun. Let's have here an example. I said I do my homework. So if you're going to convert it in an indirect form or indirect speech, you can say, I said that I did my homework. No changes in personal pronoun because it associates the first person pronoun, and in the reporting speech is also the first person pronoun in the reporting speech. That is why if you're going to convert it in an indirect speech, no changes in terms of person of pronoun. So the second consideration in terms of changes in personal pronoun is the second person pronoun. So second person pronoun in reported speech is changed according to object of the reporting verb. So to understand this, I presented an example. He said to her, "You are cute." So as you can observe in the sentence, he said to her, the object of the reporting speech is her, but the pronoun used in the reported speech is you. So to change it in an indirect speech, you should change the pronoun used in the reported speech, which is you, into her, so that it associates, so it is connected to the pronoun or the object used in the reporting speech, which is her. That is why in indirect form, you can change it into he said to her that she was cute. So the last consideration in terms of changes in personal pronoun is the third person pronouns. In reported speech, third person pronouns are not changed. So let's have an example. She says she sang a song. So in indirect speech, she says that she sang a song. Same with first person pronoun. The pronoun used in the reporting speech is a third person, which is she, and the pronoun used in the reported speech is also a third person, which is she. So if that's the case, no more changes in terms of personal pronoun because it associates to one another. So the next consideration or basic rules we should consider in converting direct speech to indirect speech is the changes in verbs. So according to the reporting verb, changes are made in the verb in the reported speech or the sentence in inverted commas. If the reporting verb is in the past tense, then the reported verb is changed in its past tense. And if the reported verb is already in a past tense form, then the tense changes to another past tense. Did you get it? Just like here, for example, the verb used in the reporting speech is in the past form, while the verb used in the reported speech is not in the past form. So to convert it into indirect speech, you need to change the verb used in the reported speech to the past form. So what if the case is the verb used in the reporting speech is past tense, and the verb used in the reported speech is past tense? So what you're going to do? All you have to do is to change the verb used in the reported speech to another tenses of verb. So to understand this, I've researched or presented some examples or considerations you're going to put in your mind so that you can convert the sentences correctly into indirect speech. So these are the reported verb that is not in the past tense form. Remember that the reported verb is the verb used in the reported speech or the speech in the enclosed or the sentences enclosed in a quotation mark. So in the first situation, reported verb in the present tense. In direct speech, Narven said, which is the reporting speech. The verb is said, which is in the past form. While in the reported speech, he is young. So the verb used is, which is in the present tense form. So if you're going to convert it in an indirect speech, the verb of the reported speech changes into past form. So if you're going to convert it, you can say that Narvin said that he, the is, will be changed into was since you are converting the verb into past form. Narvin said that he was young. So that is the first situation. The second situation is reported verb in the present continuous. So example, they said they are taking a walk every day. They are taking a walk every day. So the verb used in the reported speech is are taking, which is in the form of present continuous. So if you're going to change the verb or the present continuous verb used in the reported speech into indirect speech, you can say that they said they were taking a walk every day. So the R was changed to were because you were changing the verb into its past form. So third situation, reported verb that in the present perfect tense. In the direct speech, these are the verb that in the present perfect tense. They said they have taken a walk. Have taken is a verb in the present perfect tense. But if you're going to convert these words, this sentence into indirect speech, you can say that they said they had taken a walk. So the have taken was changed into had taken, in which in the past perfect tense. So the next situation, reported verb in the present perfect continuous. Example, in the direct speech, they said they have been taking a walk since morning. Have been taking a walk, the reported verb in the reported speech, have been taking a walk, is the present perfect continuous form of the verb. But if you're going to convert it into indirect speech, have been taking should change into had been taking, in which the past continuous tense form of the verb. That is why the converted sentence is, they said they had been taking a walk since morning, in the past perfect continuous tense of the verb. So what if, teacher, the verb in the reporting speech is already in the past tense and the verb in the reported speech is already in the past tense? If that's the case, you will going to change the verb used in the reported speech into another tenses of the verb. This is another situation that we should consider. Reported verb that is already in the past tense but need to change the tense to another past tense. Let's have first the first situation. Reported verb in the simple past tense. So in the direct speech, you can see they said they took a walk. So they said in the verb in the reporting speech is said, and the verb in the reported speech is took, agrees to one another because it is in the past tense form of the verb and in the past tense form of the verb. Since this is the case, if you're going to convert it into indirect speech, you need to change the tense into another tense. That is why in the indirect speech, they said they had taken a walk. So the simple past tense will not change into past. So the simple past tense will not change into past perfect tense. Had taken. So another situation, if the reported verb that is in the past continuous tense. In the direct speech, as you can see, they said they were taking a walk. So the verb used in the direct speech, especially in the reported speech, were taking is in the past continuous tense. But if we are going to convert this in an indirect speech, the verb were taking will be changed to had been taking, so that it goes like this. They said they had been taking a walk. They had been taking a walk, which is in the past perfect continuous tense. However, in our third and fourth situation, there is no necessary changes in the verb used in the reported speech if the verb is already in the past perfect tense and in the past perfect continuous. So in the third situation, reported verb that is in the past perfect tense. In the direct speech, they said they had taken a walk. So as you can see, the verb used in the reported speech is had taken, which is in the form of past perfect tense. And if you're going to convert it into indirect speech, there is no changes of the verb used. It's still had taken. So another situation is if the reported verb is in the past perfect continuous. Let's just like here an example. they said they had been taking a walk, which is in the direct speech form. If we're going to convert it into indirect speech, it's still the same, or it goes the same. They said that they had been taking a walk. So there's no changes in terms of verb in the reported speech if it is a past perfect continuous or past perfect tense. So the next the next consideration we should look in the changes in verbs is the tense of reported verb remains unchanged when the reporting verb is in the present or future tense. So we have here an example. In the direct speech, example in the present tense form. In the direct speech, we have here, Isha says that I am pretty. So to understand this, let's know the structure of the word. So Isha says, the reporting speech, the verb used in the reporting speech is says, which is in the present tense form. That is why the verb used in the reported speech, I am pretty, is not changed to other tenses of verb. It still remains as a present tense, which is am. So if we're going to convert this in an indirect speech, it's still the same. Isha says, the verb used in the reporting speech says, which is already in the present tense form, and Isha says that she is pretty. So the verb used in the reported speech, she is pretty, it's still in the present tense form. So teacher, the verb used in the reported speech, the am was changed into is. So that's not that's not a problem, because the reason why am was used here, it's because the pronoun used in the reported speech is I. That's why I am pretty. So in the indirect speech, it was changed to is because the pronoun used is in the third person pronoun, which is she. Another form is in the future tense. Rohan will say, I am tall. In the indirect speech, Rohan will say that he is tall. So the verb used in the reporting speech is will, which is in the future tense. That is why the verb used in the reported speech is in the present tense that agrees to the am, which is the is. So the third consideration we should look in converting direct speech to indirect speech in terms of changes in verbs is if the reported verb is in the simple future tense like will, shall, it changes to would or should plus the verb name. So let's have an example. They said they will take a walk, which is in the direct speech. But if you're going to convert this type of sentence that is in the simple future tense that uses will take as a verb, the indirect speech should have a verb that would and should. Just like here, they said they would take a walk. So the will was changed into would if we're going to convert it into indirect speech. Another consideration, if the direct speech contains the universal truth or the facts, then it remains unchanged in the indirect speech. This is the simplest form of consideration we should look in changing verbs into indirect speech. Just like here, for example, in the direct speech, they said the sun rises in the east. The sun rises in the east is a universal truth, which is a fact. So if we're going to change it or convert it into indirect speech, there is no necessary changes. It's still the same. They said the sun rises in the east. So the last basic rule that we should consider in converting direct speech to indirect speech is the important changes in words. Since I have discussed or defined earlier what is indirect speech, in which we do not use the same words, or if we do not use exactly the same words that the speaker used, meaning to say we should change the words used in the direct speech if we're going to convert it into indirect speech. So I have here some of the suggested words that we can use if we are going to convert the sentence. Just like here in the direct speech words, these we can change it into that if we're going to convert it into indirect speech. This to those, here to there, now to then, today or to that day, yesterday to the previous day, and tonight or that night. Is it clear now, class, what is direct and indirect speech, pronoun rules, and its verb rules in converting direct speech to indirect speech? Okay, so do you have any questions or clarifications? Okay, since none, who could discuss the difference of direct speech and indirect speech? Yes, Rochelle.
Sir, direct speech is like we are describing or repeating what someone said. Direct speech has an inverted comma or quotation mark where the original narrative is enclosed. On the other hand, indirect speech is like we are reporting what someone said without speech marks and without necessarily using exact the same words.
Very good, Rochelle. How about the similarities of the two in terms of grammatical aspects? Yes, Nimoria.
Direct speech and indirect speech follows the same structure in terms of grammatical aspects. These are the reporting speech and reported speech, and reporting verb and reported verb. Reporting speech is the first part of the direct and indirect speech. It is like asking who said to whom or who said. Reported speech, on the other hand, is the exact words that can be seen within the inverted commas or quotation mark. Reporting verb is the verb that can be found in reporting speech, while the reported verb is the verb that can be found in reported speech.
Very good, Miss Nimoria. It seems that you really understand the topic today. Are you ready for the next activity? Alright, so for our next activity, we will call it a pick story. So for your activity, you are going to write a short story about the pictures that I will going to present later. And the story should have an integration of direct and indirect speech. You have the freedom to choose what picture will be the subject of your story. So these are the pictures that you have, you have the freedom to select. Children playing, father and son, and typhoon. Is everyone finished writing? Okay, kindly pass your papers in front. Okay, to test if you really understand the topic, I will give you an evaluation sheet that contains 10 sentences, and all you have to do is to convert the following sentences or direct speech into indirect speech. But of course, you need to remember the rules I've discussed in terms of changes in verbs and changes in person of pronouns. So these are the sentences. Rahul asked me, "Did you see Pacquiao's match on TV last night?" James said to his mother, "I am leaving for New York tomorrow." I said to him, "Why don't you work hard?" She said she took a walk. Okay, time's up. Everyone, pass your papers in front. No more papers? Okay, very good. So for your assignment, you will going to write an essay about the importance of direct speech and indirect speech in terms of speaking and writing as a carrier of meaning. Your essay should be 4 to 5 paragraphs only with example scenarios that can be seen in society or at home. So this essay is equivalent to 50 points. Okay class, that's it for today. Thank you for your active participation, and I am hoping you learned something new from me. But before you leave this room, kindly arrange your chairs and pick the trash under it. And see you next meeting. Thank you and goodbye.